Well, now, here we are again. I am, um, as you know, stuck on my laptop doing these live videos. And oh, I have to have the light on. Okay, look, we're all in this together. I had this set up a little bit different yesterday. Oh, okay, so here I am in the middle of the room. Hello, and welcome to 100 Days of Change and Transformation. I'm Renee Francis Kahn. I'm your host for this adventure, and this is my adventure of um, dismantling my house and opening to what's next. So I don't know what's next, but we're in it together. I know for sure that while change is inevitable, transformation is a choice. And so I'm choosing to let this experience transform me. My landlord died. I have first right of refusal on the house, but the people who have the estate are going to do the necessary changes during this period of time so that, like one corner of the house is slumping into the ground and it needs to be jacked up and reinforced. That's one thing that needs to happen. And then there is, some electrical things and some other stuff that when they have someone come through, it's just going to need some work. And it's good for me, honestly, to have to pack this up. And this is where we get into the transformation piece. It's good for me to pack this stuff up because um, I've been talking and thinking about all of the things that sort of need to get moved forward and what I've been hanging on to that's not that useful to me. And so, I mean, and it's useful for some reasons, but as I approach this idea of going more minimal, you have to start making decisions, and some of those decisions are not easy decisions. So, I'm a paperwork creator. I create papers. In fact, I did this paper today. I'm really freaking proud of this. You probably can't see it because it's being blown out by the light. But there's a graphic in the bottom of it. And it came to me yesterday when I was working with one of the people that I'm going to be working with in sales and business to business sales, like bringing business to this organization. So I'm really excited about it. It's nice because they have a good commission structure in place, and I I get to use some skills that I haven't used in a few years, and I have a good mentor. So it's a really cool ground floor place to be, and I'm excited about it. So I was talking to him on the phone, or yeah, I guess we were having a phone call, and I had this moment where I was like, "You, you've got these other things going on," because he said to me, "You like this idea of doing a cartoon for these concepts that I'm offering you, and that could be a really good way to communicate the message. But do you basically he was saying, do you want to do this job for us? Do you want to make the doodly things?" And I went, "Oh my God, no, you have to understand, like, even me taking on this sales job with you, and I'm excited about that, I can't learn another system from scratch. Like, I have to be able to convey the message that we're trying to convey so that a cartoonist can put it into play in a way that's succinct. And that is what I have to get better at. I don't need to actually do the doodle drawing, even if I wanted to, even if that was like kind of an exciting and creative outlet for me. It's just I can't spend my time doing that right now. And I knew that, and I like fiercely protected the other projects that I'm working on. And I was like, "Listen, I need you to understand that I've got these three other projects that I'm working on right now, and I'm gonna do it." I was like, "I've got a school, an online school that I'm building. I have my communications program that I'm working on, and I have a nonprofit that I want to get started as well. And they all need to go together at the same time. And I cannot, especially adding in this like networking thing." And I fiercely talking to him this way. And he goes, "Okay, okay. Now, I totally hear you. And as your friend and as your mentor, I want you to possibly think about this from a different angle. And he goes, and more than that, because I had the epiphany, I'm like, oh, this is business. Like how you get things done. Like how I can get things done like this doodly thing. And I might not actually have to do it. Like I can farm that work out. And basically, he said, get it done and bring it to our marketing guy. And if he likes it, pitch it and sell it to him, and pitch it and sell more of them to him. And that's another way that you can make money. And and he goes, you're the project manager. Excuse me, in this case. You don't actually have to do the work. And then I had another light bulb go off about this lady that I was listening to in Clubhouse, and she's talking about government contracts and how to position yourself to get government contracts and how needed and necessary government contracts are needed to be filled right now. So there are job opportunities that are on the table all over the place that would make our country stronger, make our businesses stronger, make us as individuals more prolific. And he shared like that whole process with me, and I guess I kind of shared it with you right now too. But the point is, I walked away from it feeling much more confident and competent about, and the idea that even though my instantaneous response is to get very protective about my things that I'm doing, and that it's that doesn't I'm lucky that he's patient with me, and he knows my personality well enough that if I get guarded about something, it's usually because I feel overwhelmed or fearful. And so he was really patient and guided me through that process. And what a gift! What a gift! So, so anyway, what happened is I sketched this graphic out. There it is again. And for the first time in my life, I put myself in the center of the circle. I'm always putting other projects in the center of the circle. While I was talking to him, I put myself in the center of the circle. And I just said, because I use that graphic a lot, where it's a circle and then four basically squares around it. And then I assign values to each one of those sections. So, and I do that when I'm figuring out business structures and things like that, um, or profit sharing structures, or like where the money's going in the business. So we know kind of what the most important sections are. And it's because my brain works that way. I have to create that way. And then often I have to have other people come in and kind of fill in the blanks of what like line item. And I can do that if I sit down with someone, but me and spreadsheets having to do them by myself, I can and I do and I will. But it's better for me to have like the big picture view for my own brain and how my brain works. So I guess here's something to think about. Do you know, are you self-aware enough about yourself that you know your brain well enough that you can um, basically say, I'm willing to do what needs to be done, and I know how my brain works best, and so I'm going to work towards that as much as possible and delegate as much as possible from that, so that I'm spreading the work around, and also I'm making sure that the really important things like budgets they're dealt with in a proper way. Anyway, back to the graphic. So what happened was um, I put myself in the center of the circle, and we're chatting, and then I put all the three of the things that I'm working on, and I realized that landing big whales as the networking organization that I'm working for, bringing in new business, is that's the that's like they're the big whales, right? They have the ability to speak the speak that other whales speak. And that although I have had some experience with the big whales, I'm still in the learning process and building my confidence around it. Confidence and competence, right? So it's a great thing that I get to work on commission getting to meet these people that have the potential to benefit the other three segments, which if I don't have to forcibly bring in money really fast in those areas, that can be beneficial. And we're really prepared to start bringing in money in all of those areas. So um, there's just a lot on the table. And this helped me visualize. It helps me visualize that so that I can keep it straight and that I don't have to feel so defended because I just get to say to people, I know that I'm working on these four things and they're all very, very important to me for one reason or another. And they all work, what's the word, organically together, symbiotically together. They're mutually beneficial. And although each one of the pieces can stand on its own and should stand on its own, they all work better together. And then I'm at the center of that, and I have to manage my time and energy. There are deer out the window right now. I just watched one walk by me. Oh my gosh, the babies ran up to our tent. There were like four babies and three mothers, or two or three mothers this morning. And I'm staying out in this open air tent in the forest under the night sky with the fresh air. And oh my God, my life is so great. It is. And I can't stay here as long as I probably won't be able to stay here as long as I have before, because I have about 15 pounds, I haven't even measured it out, of cucumbers that need to get taken care of tonight. And, when it's harvest season, you got to harvest it or the food rots in the field. And that's the same with business. So, okay, talking a lot, um, going live. This is my second day on YouTube going live. And who am I anyway? My name is Renee Francis Khan. I am a storyteller, a businesswoman. I'm learning to become a. Oh, did you see? There was a deer in the background there. Oh, they walked through. There might be more. So watch through the window. You might see more deer crossing over there. Oh, journalist. I'm learning to be a journalist. I'm learning from Nuala Naughton, who is an award-winning journalist in Scotland, and she's going to come to the US and we're going to go on a road trip together and we're going to promote those four things for me. And she has a special project that she's also promoting. Couple of same with me. It'd be interesting to put her in the center of the circle and say, what are the four things that you're primarily looking at too? And you can do this for yourself. I'll actually probably post a picture of, I'm not sure if it'll be this page, but maybe some part of it. And you can see how I do it for myself. And you might not have four projects that you're working on together. And in fact, you might not have any visionary projects at all for your life. And not, at least not now. One of the things that I do is I give people, I help to create experiences for people in experiencing this conversation. That's an experience. But in 2024, we're going to be offering some events, whether they're online digital or live in person. We'll be doing some events. And I want you to be a part of that. And so when I produce a worksheet or something and I give it to you, if you do it, you can have your own experience with yourself. Aha. So part of my wanting to get as much of the papers in my office committed to YouTube videos like this is that a virtual assistant or a editing team can look back through this and hopefully they'll be able to edit these videos and pull out snippets that are useful on social media. I'm creating the raw original content, going live, trusting myself to just talk to you while I'm going about my business. But I have a room, and remember, I'm dismantling my house, so I have tons of papers in the office, notes that I've taken for the last couple of years, and I haven't fully got them committed to the computer yet. So what I'm doing is trying to go, what can I deliver to YouTube that a virtual assistant could transcribe, take snippets, transcribe the snippets, make them into who knows what. I don't even know, things that are useful to help with you growing your know, like, and trust factor of me and of the projects that I'm working on. So I need to grab a little water. Hang on for just a second, okay? I'm still here with you. I just realized that I'm kind of parched and very parched. Jeez. Okay. That Phoenix poster behind me. That was the first piece of art that I got. My dad was killed in a car accident back in 2004. And I went to a gallery opening and that piece was available and it has a big, beautiful, blooming heart at the center of it. And it's all in this orange and it has a big, beautiful, blooming heart at the center of it. And it's all in this orange and it's the phoenix coming out of the fire. And I'll go into that ancient story later on. Oh, and that's an urn behind me. And then a couple of other pieces of art I've picked up over the years. There's some owls in a tree, and then there's kind of a Baroque woman. I Baroque like era of time. I'm not even sure if that's right, but it has a feel of like a prolific artist. If you saw it up close and personal, and I will show it to you and share it with you at some point, but. And then a timepiece, that clock back there is that was given to me by my aunt, but I don't like the sounds of clocks in my life. And it makes a sound and I just don't like it. And so I've been grappling with giving it away. And it's a beautiful piece. It's a beautiful piece. So I'm not really sure. Oh, I actually just had a thought about who I might give it to. I'll see if she wants it. And so then there's this tape measure and tape and a goblet. I don't think you can see the goblet. I think it's around the corner. But maybe I can light it up. It's a beautiful glass. I'll just grab it. Okay. So it's this little goblet here. And I have a little tea candle in it. And it's beautiful when it's lit up. Let me just see if I can't do it. We'll light up the red goblet at a different point. So I'm making little shrines everywhere. And this is a funny thing that I do often when I'm getting ready to move. And then another thing that I do is kind of a ritual that I do is all of the unused herbs and spices, a part of my bonfire, because I'll have a paperwork bonfire. And I'll also burn the herbs in the house in that. And a lot of it is just to cleanse and purify and release all that energy, all the energy that's in the papers, all the energy that's in, just dried out and old herbs. And then it's just time to refresh the kitchen cupboards and time to start new paper piles of writing. And I've done this many times. The last place I was at was a 500-foot square warehouse. And we had great grandiose visions for it. And that is a turning point story for me. And I will tell it at another time. And I do apologize about this light. I am having trouble with my lighting right now. Oh my gosh, that's way better. Holy cow. Okay. I don't have to shoot myself right on. Oh, let's try another thing. I'm going to try turning it against the wall. That might almost be even better. Let's see if we can get it better. Oh, goodness. Okay. And then I have this glowing light over my head, but I need that light so I can see what I'm doing. Actually, I need this. Thanks for your patience. See, this is why we have to have an editing expert. Now I've got it myself blown out again. But, we'll all get better at this eventually. Uh-oh, I might have just broke my light. Okay, jeez. Try it here. Okay. Thank God we don't have a live audience and this is going to get edited. All right. So here's what I found this notebook yesterday. Oh, let me backtrack for a second. Clubhouse. Clubhouse is my favorite social audio app. And I have a vision for having Remarkable You free on Clubhouse. And that is like where we draw people in to join us and to learn from our teachers. Ultimately, I want to have our programming running 24/7 so that people all over the world are getting introduced to concepts that I think are important. They've been important in my life. They've helped with my healing, and my healing has helped my business grow, and it will continue to, just releasing information from my, like, this, cleaning up my stuff right now, the times that I've had to move, it's actually helped to lighten my physical body. And so this, where I'm at right now, is that I'm thinking about rebuilding. And it's taken me a few years and a lot I've had to learn to get myself prepared for this period of time of rebuilding. And we're still in the deconstruction phase. We're still in the dismantling phase. But the next phase is going to be about building up our energy again. So I'm sharing with you some of my experience, and it's not going to be every piece of paper, but I'm also trying to figure out how to file that information that I can't get to right now, that I might have to put in boxes and come to later, or a file cabinet or something. So, I mean, I really wanted to get into my original file cabinet, but I'm not even going to be able to do that. And I know that for sure now. If I can just get main, um, the main office in the house, the home office, if I can get that dialed in, and as much of this stuff that's on notebook paper delivered, and just the stuff that's useful to you. So some of it is the know, like, and trust. Some of it is like, who is this character, Renee Francis Khan, and why should I join her Remarkable You school for healing, leadership, and transformation. Like, I'll get better at saying this just like right off the top of my head, but we're just working through it together. And this is how we begin any new project, any new endeavor. We just tell people about the project, we tell people about ourselves, and one of my main goals, and the main goal that I'm working with right now, is just sharing this experience so that if you're going through upheaval yourself, or someone who's going through upheaval, and instead of watching some nightly news show that's going to make them feel more fearful, or make you feel fearful, and get your neuroticism up. My friend and colleague, Dr. Russell Kennedy, he and I have these like all out neurotic you. And it's like that word, nobody wants to use that word, but it's an official thing. And people who are sensitive, both Dr. Russ and I are sensitive souls, and we have a highly easily triggered nervous system through childhood trauma, and in my case, some, not abuse, but like dangerous situations that you face when you're growing up on a ranch, which is where I grew up, on a ranch in Montana. There are things that you have to do that are meant to toughen you up so that you don't die. And like the way that we work with dogs, the way that I think about dogs is vastly different than somebody who lives in the city and has a poodle that lives in a tote with somebody, or cat on a leash. The cats are there for the mice, and the dogs are there to herd cows. And nobody wants the dogs to get killed, so the dogs have to, do what they're asked on command, and we train them up that way. It's an interesting way of growing up and a different way of seeing things in the world. And you're going to learn this about me until I'm in like precision sales mode where I'm really working to convey a message. I sort of jump all over the place. Bear with me. You're learning about me. And if you are listening to replays, think I am going to switch it on. So, well, I'm going to give you an option to reach out to me to get to to tell me that you'd like to be a part of the community, that you are interested in what this self-discovery quest, what this purpose activation adventure is that we're going on, this change and transformation process that is part of the human experience. And it's not just going to be me, it's going to be me and my friends. And my friends, I pick top tier people, just my day to day life friends and in my work colleague friends, because I want to be surrounded by the best of the best in whatever area of study I'm interested in. And I for the curriculum for the original curriculum for Remarkable You, I've designed that. So I'm jumping back to the original conversation we had a while ago. But I designed that listening to what businesses are looking for in their employees, where they feel that their employees are struggling, so that they businesses can send their employees to Remarkable School U saying, I hired you. I know you're remarkable, but you're kind of struggling here. And so we want to send you to Remarkable U School, and you can pick and choose an hour a day on Clubhouse to study with whatever teachers that you want to study with. And that can be part of your paid time working for us. Like that is one way to use what we're designing here with Remarkable You. We also want to make this resource with all these excellent teachers to be available to people working in social services, people working in the, oh gosh, I always forget how to, the justice system. So if you're working in prison or parole, and you're working with inmates and people who are, that you're tending to after they get out of prison, there's a third P in there too. Um, I don't have to think about it now, but that's called the justice system. It's the lawyers, the judges, the social workers, the 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 parole officers, the people who work in the prisons. It's like a resource for them. And there's lots of like self-care tools. That's one of the topics for our curriculum is self-care. Another one is humor, developing our sense of humor, because if anything during the pandemic, although there was some humor that came out of it, I think mostly people were just scared and dismayed and didn't know what to do. And this is when you get to see if you've got a good sense of humor or not. I think that's as important, if not more so, than mindset. The deer are running back there. I don't know if you'll see them behind me, but it's getting dark out there. Whew, we're still going. Um, so what did I want to say about that? Oh, this curriculum we want to provide, one is a free resource for people. Some of our categories of underdogs are single parents who want to up-level their job skills. And some of your job skills are self-care skills. And that's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Those four categories. And every one of our subjects, we want to apply that. How do you teach business management or project management and address mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects? And physical is like material world. So it's like, how do you deal with the budget? I'm like, hand signals. What's happening to my hand here? That's B-roll, good B-roll, because it shows my sense of humor. So you're kind of starting to get familiarized with topics. People living in domestic violence. I want to point something out to all the business owners who are listening right now. If someone in your work team is experiencing domestic violence, And it doesn't matter if they're male or female. If they're experiencing domestic violence, the chances that that will eventually erode their self esteem is going to affect your business. And so, domestic violence is a matter of one, national security, and two, business success. If you're not aware that people who've experienced trauma and experienced abuse and neglect in their life in their childhood, that they are affected by this, and most of the time people don't even know that they are. And then secondarily, that people take more days off because they don't want to come in with black eyes and broken arms and try to explain the situation, or just when they're rattled, somebody pulls a gun on you in your house, like you might not feel up to going to work, or if you go to work you might be just sort of stunned, and if you don't feel like you can share your experience with people, which most people don't feel like they can share that kind of experience, domestic violence matters to the bottom line of business. And so just keep that in mind. And so that is an underdog set. Um, an underdog set would be like an empty nester who was a stay-at-home parent, and they haven't been in the workplace for a while and they feel like they're really behind. A late bloomer who's just done all the work for somebody else and they really, really specialize, but now something occurred in their life, like a pandemic, and made them really question, have an existential crisis about what who they are and what they're doing here on planet Earth. If that's you, then this program is something that you would want to get involved with. So somewhere around here, or here, or here, or here, is a link to get to know more about what we're doing with Remarkable You. And yeah, okay. So quickly, I'm just going to go over this again. I have like 15 pounds of cucumbers waiting for me that needs to get processed tonight because cucumbers you really can't wait on. You don't want them to start getting soft and mushy. You want to use them right away if you can. These ones actually got overgrown, but we're still going to turn it into relish, and it's going to be fantastic. So I'm excited about that. And at some point on TikTok, I was sort of trying to share these TikToks about other parts of my life and experience, primarily in the garden. And here's why: because I can actually take my TikTok on my phone out with me, which here is my one of my call to actions. Subscribe to my YouTube page. Help me out. Help a girl out. Subscribe to my YouTube page so that I can hit 1,000 followers or 1,000 friends or subscribers or whatever YouTube calls it. And then that will unlock my ability to use my smartphone and go out on the road and come live to you wherever I am out on the road. Where are we? We're at 33 minutes. We're doing great. But we are going to probably be here for about an hour. So I'm going to go through this notebook really quick. I did this yesterday on Clubhouse. Oh my God, I haven't even talked about Clubhouse yet. So it's my favorite platform, but they did an update and I went, what is this? And everybody's just like, it's like upheaval. Clubhouse just handed us upheaval. And I understand that all of these businesses are competing against one another. So Clubhouse is just another social audio app or social app, just like Facebook or Instagram or even YouTube. And the thing about it is, what they're competing for is your and my time and attention. And so their goal in competing with one another is to not take you off their native site. And even though Clubhouse says go to Twitter or X, I think it's being called now. I don't even want to give them the time of day to do that, but whatever. So we have our little bird Tweety account, and we also have the IG camera account, picture account, and then there's Facebook and LinkedIn. Those are the primaries, right? And then there's search engines like Google, YouTube, and Pinterest are our top 3 search engines. And I don't know how to deal with YouTube or Google yet. I like Pinterest the best. That's like my picture place. That would be my competition for with Instagram would be Pinterest for me. But I like Pinterest as a search engine, and so I'm going to put a lot of the work that I do and we do there and make it available to people, knowing that will be searchable for years down the road, just by like hashtags and words and concepts and whatever they've come up with next is making it searchable. So, so if I were saying my top three with Google, I would say YouTube for Alphabet Company, and then for Meta Company, I like the what's it called? It's a new one. Threads. I like Threads. So that's the Twitter competitor. So for me, Threads wins out. And then uh, Clubhouse, just as general, is my favorite. But now I'm kind of ticked off at Clubhouse right now because they violated marketing 101, which is like don't cause distrust in your primary group of users. And um, for me, it violated the no like trust factor because they just did this update. They forced the update on everybody. And there's lots of reasons why I'm sure they did it, and we have to trust the process. But it was very jolting. And I don't think it's a good idea to do that to people. I think find a way to do a good communications cascade and forewarn people and ask people to share the info with one another to get them prepared. And then we go, well, this was like dropping a bomb in war, economic war. That's kind of what it feels like. People were doing commerce and effectively doing commerce on Instagram, or no, excuse me, on Clubhouse, and that shifts, and we still don't quite know what to do with it. So um, anyway, what happened was it pushed me to come over here to YouTube, and I'm excited about that because now I'm going to learn this platform. But to get back to my original point, these platforms are competing against one another, and you and I are the pawns in the game. We're the fodder. Our attention and our time is being used by these platforms as content creators, content curators, and content consumers. And it's best if you're a content creator because you might be able to monetize that. As a curator, you could probably monetize it. But the consumers, they're more like the learners. And so they can spread the word, but they may or may not be able to make money from it. And I realize money isn't the only object, right? There's lots of other reasons to be on social media. But just be aware of where you are in all these systems. Because one of the things that I experienced with Clubhouse is I was like, I don't know where all my people are. I don't know where our conversations went. I feel like all this just got stolen from me. And in fact, it didn't, but it's being organized in the back end right now in a way that, you know, I guess they've probably gotten feedback about it. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. So you'll follow along with that story and the story about Newell and I getting ready to go on the road and what that road trip is going to look like and why we're doing it. We'll be sharing all of that. But we're still in the deconstruction and dismantling process in my house. And I have a deadline, which is the 3rd. I'm turning over my keys to the realtor on the 3rd of October. So I have that last weekend. Thank God. And I'm just going to try to get as much of the stuff that's on paper that might be useful to you, either to learn about me and learn about the things that I've been learning about and working on that might be useful to you, and also to see how you might be getting involved with yourself with Remarkable You and the other projects we have going on. Okay. Whew. Whew. All right. So we have about 20 minutes and we'll see how far along I can get in the notebook. I already went through this once. This is really a lot of my backstory. So, um, and it often starts in this place with me because this is where my most of my lived career experience is, and that is or was as a body worker. So I have 25 years of experience as a body worker, specializing in Eastern philosophy and methods. I started out originally with Swedish Esalen massage, and I went to Esalen Institute. Actually, I went to Hartwood Institute first, and that was not a sister school, probably a competitor school, but they had teachers there who had picked up the original Swedish Esalen style Swedish massage from the teachers at Esalen Institute in Big Sur, California. And so that is my lineage. That's the what I started with. And I did a 30-day intensive program. It was 150 hours. It was awesome. And I love doing that kind of intensive um, learning. I've studied by action different education models over the years, and I love that intensive 30-day thing. I also did block school at Dillon, Montana, and it's part of the University of Montana out of Missoula. That's like the university, and then Dillon's called Western, and I'm like, go Bulldogs. And I'm like, except that I did theater while I was there, the poetry and all of that good stuff. But still, go Bulldogs! Rodeo, that's what Western is really big known for. So where was I with this? Oh, so they do a block system. So what you do is one class for 30 days, and you meet every single day, 5 days a week, and you're in class for 3 hours a day with your teacher, and then at the end of that you write papers and do presentations about your learning experience. So if you're in like geology, you're going to have real world field experience in geology, and it's an amazing way to experience that kind of work. And there are only a handful of schools in the country who are doing that type of work. And I happen to be, born and raised in Montana, so it made sense for me at some point to go to Western and learn that system. So now I have two types of block systems. And then I went on to study further with massage at Big Sky Somatic Institute. Unfortunately, that school is no longer in play, but they had an intensive weekend once a month, and that's how we went through that program. So that's some of my educational background, and I also went to Traditional University of Montana. Anyway, so I started out with Swedish Esalen massage, and then I studied comprehensive Asian studies for body work, and that included Tui Na, which is Chinese medical and sports massage, Thai therapeutic massage, Setai Shiatsu, and Ayurvedic massage. And that was like the oiliest Swedish massage you could ever imagine. It was all about the oil. So I hardly ever used that body work. And eventually I mostly did just the clothed, like my clients were clothed. And I used the Thai and Setai Shiatsu and Tui Na kind of in combination. Whatever the body was asking for, that's what I pulled from that toolkit of hand techniques, and I was able to create an individualized session. So that tending to people in that way is primary to my body work. Now, you want to make this about you, right? So tell me in the chat or tell me or write to me if you're inspired to get involved with this project. First of all, get on our mailing list, and at some point, we'll be making. I'll have a virtual assistant, or maybe I'll end up doing it after I have time to review these videos. A worksheet on some of the notes that we took today. So take note, or just write it down for yourself in your own notebook. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Just don't worry about worksheets. take notes while you're listening to me, and I can be in the background. You don't have to watch me. I can just be in the background and you can be taking notes and jotting down thoughts based on what I've been chattering away about. Hopefully it's intended to inspire you to be thinking about your own life. So, what educational background experiences that were not traditional schools necessarily that you have embarked on? Tell me about your educational background. Okay, so I have 25 years as a body worker. That's actually hands on, literally hands on, day to day working, the methodology, and helping people to unwind from pain and stress. I'm working with people's nervous systems. When their nervous system gets relaxed, sometimes tears come to the surface or they have memories that make them angry. I mean, information is stored in the tissues of our body, in our muscles, in our bones, in our tendons and ligaments. And when we get injuries, whatever was happening in our life that was painful besides the physical pain of it, it can get stored there too. So if you're struggling in pain, body work with a good body worker can be really helpful in releasing that. So I have this is in columns. So I'm going to read the left column. It said, what the things that I learned in body work was trusting intuition, a unique lineage of thought, ancient practices and techniques for healing, technology through our hands and as hands on healers, and energetics. I learned branding and marketing for myself, presenting my work to various audiences, calling clients and inviting them back for tune ups. If you know of a body worker and they need to know more about how to do body work business, bring them to Remarkable You. And what I'm teaching here is often through the lens of a body worker because, so this would be anyone in the healing arts field, acupuncturists, body workers, herbalists. Um, this crosses lots of different healing arts fields. It's marketing and business 101. And it's just what I picked up over the years and how I would go about doing it differently if I was starting over from scratch in that business. For example, I would have specialized really early on. I would have gone to a city. It's the first thing. I would have gone to a big city and I would have gotten involved with the music scene and the theater scene and the art gallery scene. And that's where I gravitate naturally anyway. But those people, and I would have given a free body work to the people that I liked in those communities. And if you get one orchestra, you are set for life because all those people in that orchestra have friends and family that they will refer you to. Same with the theater scene. And musicians are fascinating because they are athletes in their own way. They're working with their breath a lot, so that's interesting, and how they use their breath as a body worker, that's fascinating. And the positions they have to hold their body in to play their instrument optimally is not necessarily optimal for the body. So you're learning about how to unwind the body to give them more suppleness and flexibility so that they can play their instrument better, so that they are more intuitive and aligned with the whole. And think about being a part of that. That's cool. But this is just me. You can apply this to any business. I'm just saying this is how I would have done it differently, knowing myself, learning about myself, and collecting that wisdom to share back to my younger self. If there are timelines, then there's one back there who's still trying to figure out how to do body work and make it work as fast and efficiently and effectively as possible as a business. So that's like the goal, right? You want to get it profitable as fast and efficient and be as efficient as possible. I would have learned to delegate faster. The first thing I would have delegated, and this is for any young women out there, is find the money in your budget. Put the money in your budget to hire a housekeeper. And there's a lot of reasons for this, and I will go into further detail at another point in time. But as a woman, this would be the thing I would offer to a girl in her early 20s, a girl in her early 20s, a young woman in her early 20s to whatever job you're doing, add the extra money in to hire a housekeeper to come in once a week or once every 2 weeks to support you. And again, lots of reasons on that. Let's see. So the calling clients um, and inviting them back for tune-ups, and then business administration. And what I noted here is that I often procrastinated, deferred, never felt good about it, and always wanted to outsource it. So if that is I would have advised myself to get the money together to do that, and not feel guilty about it. But I had people in my life giving me bad advice that I had to do everything myself. And that is not the era we're living in now. And it isn't so much specialize. You still got to know what's going on in your business and know how to um, recognize if there's an anomaly that you need to be paying attention to. But gosh, yeah, I that's how I would advise my younger self, knowing what I know now. Um, One of the things that came out of body work for me is quickly building rapport and intimacy with customers. And that is applicable in all aspects of business and life. And so that is something that was, and I think I do it on a level that a lot of people don't. And it's because you have to understand that somebody who's on the massage table is in a very vulnerable position, often because they're naked, just covered up by a sheet or a towel. And although it feels good to have the nervous system touched through the skin, the nervous system calmed through the skin, it can also be a scary thing for people. And so being able to build up rapport and intimacy where they can cry if and feel okay about it, that you can comfort them through that and allow them to have the spaciousness to do that deep healing work, that's a great gift. And I have had a lot of practice with that. And that's one of the reasons that you can know, like, and trust me, because I approach my life in that way. I approach business in that way. In fact, I have this concept of the base of business as a spiritual experience. For those of us who don't like the money grubbing aspect of business, that is just icky to us. If you can find a way to feel and experience business as a spiritual experience, there's a lot of good stuff to be had. There's a lot of ways to open you up and awaken you as a spiritual being through business. And some of that comes through failure and getting back up and going on after that. Um, and yeah, starting over, pivoting, listening to your customers is a spiritual experience because our ego doesn't want to ever be wrong. And our customers will tell us that they want a different experience from us. And if we want our business to work, in some ways, we're beholden to that. Sometimes we're beholden to the vision and they aren't the right customer for us. So there's a lot of discernment that happens in business, and discernment is the key to our spiritual life. But that's another day. Okay, breath work. Breath work was one of the key components that I learned and practiced and offered at the table. And I think I did a little breath work practice yesterday, so I won't worry about that right now. We'll move forward. Seeing and feeling energy blockages, energy openings, how to direct the energy, understanding the meridian lines and the energy channels in the body, and how to direct that energy for the best flow of energy, for optimal flow of energy. And that's a huge, important skill to have. Also, emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, and body work is a lot of a job of emotional labor. And luckily, I can't come by it naturally. It's been entrained in me as well, and it served itself well in the field of body work. Um, the ability to hold space for people who are releasing pain and tension. Man, in business, people will show up. The best business leaders are the ones who can hold space, have been through enough in their own life to know that they are going to, that they can be present with you if you're going through a rough time. I talked about people who are going through domestic violence. A good boss can hold space and maybe even help a person get out of a domestically violent situation, domestic violence situation. But you have to have the trust factor with the people you're working with. And some jobs and some businesses don't lend itself to it. It's not part of the business plan. It's part of mine. It's part of this new business model I want to explore with the best of business experts I found on Clubhouse. So I'm going to ask them to come into spaces and coach me and talk to me about my own business with the intent that it helps you understand various business models and understand what we're doing, attempting to do, aiming for in the business model we're designing off of best practices in business, best practices about what we know about humans and humans coming together and working together on projects and and profit sharing and why that's valuable and how we think that that profit sharing model on every level will be what will set businesses apart from one another. Okay, um, let's see. I learned ritual and ceremony on the fly to address and release the information that rises to the surface. And this has come into play in places where somebody didn't have a funeral officiant or a memorial officiant at like to take care of leading the people through the grieving process. And I realized that and I just stepped up. This woman was my friend who died, and it was her daughter and sisters who were putting together the memorial service. And you need to have some space for people to speak about the person that departed. And I got hit again with my friend Steven, who just died. And I'm gonna probably you're gonna see me have a little regret at various times. He was a lover of mine, and so there's a little grief here. Didn't end well. The relationship did not end well. But I withheld myself, withheld my voice, withheld my truth that he was indeed a remarkable person in my life. He was somebody who was with me during a really intense period of my life, and through the good and the really painful of it. And our relationship didn't last through that, and I was really angry at him out of it. And but we knew that his life was coming to an end, and it was recommended to me that I get in touch with him and give him my last respects. And I don't have many regrets in my life, and I'm sharing with you a regret right now in hopes that you will not do what I did, which is just shy away from my fear of sickness and death. And knowing Stephen, he was probably having a gale time, a fun time on all the way out, and embracing each piece of it because he was that kind of person. So I didn't get to see and be with him at all during that, and I didn't give him the respect and honor of his experience in my life to share that with him. Geez, we're almost okay. We got through one page of my notebook today in an hour. I don't know how I'm going to get through any and all of this, but it's probably how I'm going to make it to the 100 days of change and transformation. Um, anyway, I learned to be able to stand up and when called for a ritual and ceremony and stand up and be able to do that and lead people on that because of being able to lead my clients on the healing journey of using their breath to move energy and energy blockages and release pain and tension from their bodies. And so, as far as a business goes, that becomes my experience as a body worker becomes both a lens how I see the world through and what I want for our world and the healing I want for our world, it also informs the business model that I want to bring forth into the world. And because business is not, nor do I want it to be like what I'm all about, I think I really am here as a healer. So wherever my voice touches and however, whatever I'm delivering offers to you, that is my intention, that my voice reaches you and offers you healing on some level, as well as knowledge. But it's my intention to curate the best of the best and bring them together under those 12 topics. And and then we'll find out that we'll need to expand the curriculum from there. But this is our first year curriculum, 12 topics. We want to run it 24/7 free on Clubhouse, still organizing that. Um, and we want you to be a part of it, either as an expert, and there'll be a training for that, and or as a learner, someone who's a lifelong learner and wants to use our systems as education. And then there'll be like a membership program and some other cool things that we'll be adding in. But right now, we're just looking to put the curriculum together and um, bring together the best of the best for the sake of you. And I need to fill my own gaps. So a lot of this is for me to find mentors for myself. We can always do better with our self care. And that's not to beat ourselves up over the self care we've been providing for ourselves, whether it's been good or not. But having people who are experts in self care in a variety of ways is useful because I don't know which teachers are going to resonate with you uniquely and which ways that types of ways of self-care is going to resonate with people. So we want to give you a variety, but we also want to pick the best of the best because of the know, like, and trust factor. I want you to feel like when you come to Remarkable You on Clubhouse and join the membership community, that you can trust that we have your best interest at heart, that we're looking for the best of the best and providing you access to them so that you can learn at your own pace, learn the things that you feel are next in line for you to learn, and put together your own curriculum. This is like homeschooling for adults. Like it's kind of our niche. It's like, and I asked all of my teachers to think about teaching both themselves what they needed to know, age 15 to 25, to think about all the upheaval that was happening in their life so that they could teach that 15 to 25-year-old and also to learn about 15 to 25-year-olds now and what they are looking for to teach them. But really, it's like a developmental curve with some extra special nuances that life just hands you weird things. Like in my case, my mother was dying in my early 20s. And between, I think 21 and 23, she was sick with cancer. So if that happened, and for other people, they're becoming parents for the first time. And that, if you have parents who are in your corner, that's great. Or if you have parents who completely abandoned you, well, you need support. So we're thinking about age 15 to 25, that developmental age. We ask you to think about this. Write it down right now. Come back to it. Think about it. Who were you? What were you doing? Where were you? What was on your mind? What did you need to learn between the ages of 15 and 25? Because you might become one of our facilitators in Remarkable You School for healing, leadership, and transformation somewhere down the road. And we're still going to ask that same question. So start grappling with it now. And this might be your vision. This might be the start of your own vision for your life and the legacy you intend to leave. This might be the start of your purpose activation, of your wisdom gathering. So that's what we're doing here. And I hope you've enjoyed this time with me, Renee, in Montana. I I improvosa. Ah, I've got a branding thing going on here. I'm like rebranding myself and trying to figure out how to do that too. So you get to come along on a bunch of my own personal journeys. Hope you enjoyed your time with me. And we're going to continue dismantling, deconstructing the wisdom of my life, sharing it with you. So you, if your life is in upheaval, you'll have a partner in this adventure rooting you along. You can listen to me in the background and sort out piles of things that need to be sorted out, that need to go in boxes to go away, to be given away, and then sorting out the stuff that you're going to carry on with you to the next part of your life, the next season of your life. That's what we're doing here. All right, sending love from Montana. It's Renee, and signing off for now. Take care, good care, and we'll be in touch soon.